Hey, well, good morning. This is Ian R. Crane. It's the morning of Thursday, the 29th of November, 2018. And it's a balmy 13 degrees up here on the edge of the Lancashire moors, but it is blowing a gale. I've got some protection. I'm behind a dry stone wall here. So hopefully the tripod doesn't get blown over. Anyway, the title of this morning's broadcast is GcMAF and Big Pharma Protectionism. And it would seem that by actually raising awareness through social media of David Noakes' trial last week, it's somewhat rattled the MHRA and the lamestream media, because it seems they've gone absolutely overboard in trying to ramp up the demonization, not so much of David Noakes, but more of GcMAF. Because woe betide the cancer charities if they actually pick up on the prospect of something that might actually work in terms of treating cancer extremely effectively. Because of course I have to be very careful about using the word cure. But Cancer Research UK did actually claim to start to look at GcMAF 10 years ago, but very quickly backed off and stated that actually their research didn't come to anything, and a number of scientific papers that were in the public domain had been withdrawn. Well, it's like anything. You can certainly make statistics say whatever you want them to say, and the reality is you can make clinical studies say anything you want them to say, as Big Pharma know very well. So what we're hearing and reading in the mainstream media is that GcMAF, it's unproven, it's unlicensed, and the key element is in their choice of words, because they keep referring to David Noakes' bioimmunotech output as potentially contaminated. There was absolutely no evidence, not a shred of evidence, that a single file of GcMAF produced by bioimmunotech was in fact contaminated. It was acknowledged that the manufacturing process was not meeting the standards of good manufacturing process as per the normal pharmaceutical industry, but that was something that would have cost 20 million. Now, that wasn't necessarily and beyond the reach potential ultimately of bioimmunotech, but it was in the short term. But on the basis that the production facilities could have been improved, you would think that other pharmaceutical companies would have been bending over backwards to get into an agreement, a third-party relationship with bioimmunotech to be able to produce this remarkable product. But even though, and it was acknowledged in court that some 9,000 people have taken GcMAF without any significant side effects. There were some side effects, but not significant side effects. Certainly nobody died as a result of taking GcMAF, and without contamination. But the MHRA, of course, is very much in the pocket of Big Pharma. And the MHRA have put up their own video, and frankly, it's pretty pathetic. But it's on a government website, and there are two contributors to this video. One is Tariq Sawar, who's the head of operations at MHRA, and the only Tariq Sawar I can find any information of has an interesting criminal record, so I'm sure this isn't that particular Tariq Sawar. But the other guy, who certainly was a regular figure in the courtroom, sitting behind the Crown Prosecution Service, was Anthony Archibald. and he's head of the MHRA investigative unit. But now there's a little bit more information about Anthony Archibald. He's actually been with the MHRA since October 2016, and his background is police, Surrey Police. So he joined the MHRA having been a detective chief inspector at Surrey and Sussex, and he headed up the police major crime unit. Before that, he was crime manager for East Surrey. Before that, he was in the CID at Reigate. And prior to that, he was a detective sergeant in the counter-terrorism unit. But forgive me, because I don't see any medical qualifications here. So he's waxing lyrical on the video about the dangers of GcMAF and, you know, what a bad man David Noakes is for manufacturing this product. And that, you know, he had no medical qualifications, well, neither do you, Anthony Archibald. And, you know, it's very, very interesting to note that the medical profession just don't want to go anywhere near a discussion of this product. Because obviously, Big Pharma takes very, very good care of its front of house sales team, otherwise known as the general practitioner. Because obviously the pharmaceutical companies, they wine, they dine, they take these GPs and decision makers in the NHS off to wonderful locations for conferences, and all they want in return is a commitment that they will promote their particular products. Well, you know, maybe Anthony Archibald has had some benefit from the MHRA's association with Big Pharma. But one thing is for sure, the MHRA certainly is not unbiased, and it's certainly not objective. And yesterday, you know, I touched on why it is that the cancer charities, and the top two in this country, have had certainly very close on to £1 billion in income from multiple sources, and that was in 2017. And, you know, their chief executives and their senior management are very, very well paid. The average chief executive officer of a charity in the UK has a salary in excess of £160,000, which, when you add pension and other indirect benefits, certainly takes it probably in the ballpark of about £200,000, which is some 9 times more than the average salary in the UK today. And the role of the charity is, of course, to protect Big Pharma. And why do they need to do that? Well, let me just take a look at the revenue from cancer-related products. So this is oncology revenue of the top 5 pharmaceutical companies, and this is 2016, so it's probably increased since then. But top of the league by a long way is Hoffmann La Roche, and their revenue from cancer-related products was $27 billion. Next was the Celgene Corp, which is $10 billion. The infamous Novartis, linked very much, of course, with the swine flu vaccine contamination back in 2011 or so. Then Bristol Myers Squibb Co. with 6.8 billion, and then Johnson & Johnson with 5.3 billion. So the top 5 revenue streams from cancer-related products to the pharmaceutical industry generated 56 billion. And there are many, many other companies, obviously, with less revenue. But, you know, what we're looking at here is an industry that is worth something in the ballpark of $100 billion a year. So do you really think that Big Pharma has any interest in an effective cancer treatment? I don't think so. And isn't it interesting? Yesterday, I talked about Sir Harpal Singh Kumar, who was head of the of Cancer Research UK up until the middle of this year, when he left to join Johnson & Johnson, who are number 5 on the list there of the revenue streams. And he joined Johnson & Johnson to become head of innovation for Europe, Middle East and Africa. Revolving doors here. Well, just take a look at his background, for example, because he was a Cambridge graduate with a master's in engineering. But then he joined McKinsey & Co. as a healthcare consultant. But by 1992, he was chief executive of the Patworth Trust. And then in 97, he founded the Nexon Group, which produced medical devices. In 2002, he became chief executive officer of Cancer Research Technology. Then in 2004, he joined Cancer Research UK as their chief operations officer before assuming the CEO position in 2008. And when he left Cancer Research UK in June of this year, his base salary was £240,000. And you could bet your bottom dollar that he didn't leave Cancer Research UK to join Johnson & Johnson for a lesser salary package. Well, we have AV 9.1 coming up this Sunday, and Dr. Graham Downing is going to be presenting his analysis of Big Pharma. And, basically, the new title of his presentation is, effective medicines versus, Big Pharma protectionism. And, Graham Downing is one of the most insightful professionals. I think, he's well worth listening to. And I can once again state that we have a guest presenter, somebody who was very close to David Noakes and the production of GcMAF. And she will be giving her insights into how they have been persecuted by the MHRA for producing something which was proving to be extremely effective. And to this day on Guernsey, there are people there who revere David Noakes and Bioimmunotech because he provided GcMAF to some 140 odd Guernsey residents free of charge. And, despite the fact that the BBC and the lamestream media and even the MHRA, who are deliberately not acknowledging the judge's observations and the comments, or even the Crown Prosecution's own acknowledgement that the efficacy of GcMAF was not on trial. Now you can bet your bottom dollar that had anybody died or suffered from very serious side effects from taking a course of GcMAF, it would have been very central to the trial. But it wasn't. The only thing that was up for discussion here was, did David Noakes knowingly manufacture and produce a medicine without the necessary license? And the answer to that is, of course, yes. And, when he was asked by the judge, knowing what you know now, would you again break the law to bring this medicine to market? And David's response was, is it worth breaking the law to save lives? Absolutely. Now, of course, the prosecution tried to twist that as an illustration of his absolute disregard for the law. But, the judge also made the observation that it wasn't a court of morality. But when morality is dismissed in a court of law, then it's very, very clear that the role of the court of law is simply to protect the revenue streams of the corporations. And although we weren't actually in the city, we were on the South Bank, the reality is that we have established time and time again that when you're in court in the city, the health and well-being of humanity is an irrelevance and is very much secondary when it comes to protecting commerce and the revenue streams of business. So if you are able to join us on Sunday, there are still tickets available for AV 9.1. The information is on my website, that's ianrcrane.com, and also alternativeview.co.uk. And if you go to the Alternative View YouTube channel, then you can see David Noakes' presentation at AV6 back in 2015, which he was giving shortly after Immunobiotech had been raided by the MHRA, and the MHRA had effectively determined that those people who were taking this product should actually just die, because their lives were worth nothing when compared to protecting the revenue streams of Big Pharma. So, as I said yesterday, the genie is very much out of the bottle, and we have a team looking at right now how the MHRA can be held to account for their crimes against humanity, because the MHRA is protecting Big Pharma, is protecting Big Pharma from being held to account for the horrendous effects of many of the licensed products, whilst preventing very effective products being brought to market by entrepreneurs such as David Noakes. So if you are able and willing to contribute to our fighting fund, this is Humanity versus the Corporatocracy. And again, you can find the donate buttons on the two websites I've just mentioned, ianrcrane.com and alternativeview.co.uk. The one thing is absolutely certain: GcMAF isn't going away. It's out of the bottle. The cancer charities need to step up to the plate. With an income of nearly £1 billion in 2017, the cancer charities have the opportunity to take some very, very real initiative. But unfortunately, the revolving door between the senior management of cancer charities and Big Pharma is likely to ensure that that doesn't happen anytime soon. So thanks for joining me today, and if you are in central London today and want some entertainment, then go along to the Royal Courts of Justice, where I believe Friends of the Earth are actually seeking a judicial review against the Environment Agency and Quadrilla, and to look at the disposal process of the waste product. And if this application is successful, then it will mean obviously that Quadrilla will not just have to sit on their pump trucks at Preston New Road pretending that they're still fracking. They basically won't be able to frack. So you guys have a great day, and I will be back tomorrow morning at 8:30, and then of course I will be in London at the Crowne Plaza Hotel for AV 9.1 on Sunday the 2nd of December. I'll catch you tomorrow.